technology's a bitch, man.
What do you do for work, man?
I do UPS.
You work for UPS?
What if I just told you some crazy shit? Like, yeah, I fucking, I don't know. I fucking, or I donate sperm or some shit like that. Like, I
That's your
donate.
day job, bro.
Yeah, I just get them at, or, well, I don't, first off, who's jerking off with magazines, man? That's what someone told me. They actually like they had a kid and they did the surrogate thing or whatever. Like they fucking nutted in a fucking cup and they put it in the girl. But he he said he fucking had to. They gave him magazines. He's like, dude, I got my phone. What the fuck are you talking about?
Disrespect me with that fucking
Yeah,
magazine,
what is
bro.
this 1972? He's like, dude, they're all bushy and.
Don't handcuff me to fucking giant tits. What if I want an ass and fucking titties?
Well,
Death Taco, the Death Taco, huh? The Death Taco, the Death Taco, huh?
Welcome to the Death Taco Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and today I got a very special guest, returning once again, Mr. Luke Goff from the Lucas Shirley Show.
Pleasure, man. Thank you. I love it here.
So to get to, if I could speak. So today we've gotten together to talk about a 1995 sci-fi horror film, Screamers, directed by Christian Dugway. Dugway or Duguay? I prefer Duguay. That sounds clean.
That sounds better. Sounds
Yeah.
French or something.
So you had never seen this before?
Nope.
Never got an inkling of what it was?
No, did you?
Yeah.
a kid?
I saw it when I was younger, like on the Sci-Fi Channel or some shit with my dad. Like I've seen a lot of the damn movies. And vaguely what I remember of it, I remember just liking the aspect of, because loosely it's about androids pretty much, right?
Yeah, for sure. But they're like, yeah.
I always like the concept of androids. Like I recently saw Blade Runner.
Yeah, I like Blade Runner.
I barely saw Blade Runner last year for the first time.
Did you see the
And,
new one that came out?
No, that's the only reason I watched the old one is because I wanted to see the new one.
Dude, I need to watch that one because I thought in my IB film class in high school, I thought Blade Runner was going to be like action packed, and it's more of a
It's slow, sir.
slow burn. It's a good movie, but it's slow. And if I would have been told, hey, it's a slow drama kind of sci-fi, fucking more suspenseful movie, then I'd be like, okay, I'll deal with it. But the fact that I thought it was going to be like Harrison Ford kicking ass, no, I was kind of really disappointed. But I heard the new one is kind of similar, or not similar, but a little more action. So
yeah, that's the same like mindset I went into watching it with, and also Taxi Driver.
oh, dude, Taxi Driver's a son of a bitch. It took me like 10 times to watch that whole movie.
Like because I barely saw that also last year. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna see these classics. People always talk about it, and I didn't care for him, dude. Like, you know, you can appreciate that a movie's good. You could look at it and go,
Yeah.
this was a good movie.
for sure.
I didn't like it.
That's how I feel about Blade Runner. Not Taxi Driver. I used to not like Taxi Driver. Like I said, it's taken me. I've seen the whole movie in bits and pieces because it's so hard to watch. And I watched it this year actually. This year as in like a couple months ago. And I actually I don't know. It was just one of those days. I guess I was in the mood for it, and I was like, I really enjoyed it. So. For once, that was one time though. One time it took me 10 times to finally understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's a weird movie. It's different. Who makes it? Isn't it a real famous dude?
Is it Martin Scorsese?
Scorsese, I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I watched it and I'm like, yo, this movie, it looks really good.
Yes.
The story's really good. The acting, I would assume, is very good. It was just a slow burner. I couldn't really get into it.
Much. Way too slow.
Yeah. But so how we got onto that was I would compare this kind of loosely, very, very fucking loosely to Blade Runner.
Yeah, I could see that. You know what I compare it to? Well, actually, no. Go ahead. Finish what you're saying. I'll do this later. I'll compare this later.
Well, first I'll just give like a brief synopsis of what it's about. So this is like I would say it's a future movie, like Dyson-topian style, like 100 years past where we're at now. Some foreign planet. There's a war going on between these two factions. one side decided to create robots that could crawl underground to fuck up the enemy. And pretty much that's just what we're thrown into it, is that there's some type of armistice, there's some peace treaty that's about to form. So one guy has to journey across the wasteland to fucking meet up with this other faction. And that's more or less what this is about.
Yeah.
Is that a safe, like, sum up?
That is very, that's pretty, yeah.
But anyway, so like
Yeah.
what you were saying, what movies would you compare this to?
Okay, no, this is, so like if you have Frank Stallone, Sylvester Stallone's brother,
Mm-hmm.
Casey Affleck,
Mm-hmm.
okay, who else is an off-brand brother out there?
Michael Pitt.
Okay, Michael Pitt, the third, what are the quarterbacks brothers? What are the quarterback brothers?
Quarterback brothers.
Fucking big head, big forehead.
Manning's
the third Manning brother.
Joe Manning.
You had him, and these guys were like, hey, let's make a fucking Savers off-brand fucking movie. This would be it. And I'm hating loosely. Look, I'm only hating because I'm staying real with it because I respect the movie and the fact that is a dope concept of the fucking crawlers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also kind of an off-brand Tremors.
Tremors, that was where I was gonna go.
Yeah,
with.
kind of an off-brand with a little bit of off-brand of Terminator Salvation, even though this came first. But it felt like, you know what I mean? Like it kind of felt like Terminator Salvation, especially him hanging out with the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I get that RoboCop vibe. There was something else in there. But I will say, for how much I didn't really like the movie, it had decent acting in it.
Yeah.
It had decent acting in it. Like, there's some every 90s movie, it's like, okay, it's kind of shitty acting, you know what I mean? But this movie, actually, for like what me not liking them, I was like, oh, the acting's pretty fucking good. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. I like some of the I thought some of the action sequences were decent. For
Yeah,
a 90s movie,
yeah.
bro. Some of the action was pretty baller.
The action was cool. I respected that as well. I agree with you on that, because like even the guns and shit I thought were cool in it.
And
Yeah.
the gore, some of the effects.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were bad.
Oh yeah, the little crawly thing running around.
Yeah.
Everyone was so scared of it. It was so funny. It looked like my Jack Russell running around as a robot.
So generally, do you like sci-fi horror?
Yeah. Yes, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't tell you this before I watched it. I am super picky about sci-fi. I don't know why. I've always been like a fucking little snob about it. I've been super picky about it. Like, how many fucking Bruce Willis movies have you seen that are like a sci-fi movie? A lot of them are good, but some of them I'm like, God, it's the same fucking concept. You know what I mean?
You mean kind of like Liam Neeson in Taken? Like, how many times can he just?
How many times are you just a bad parent? Like, fucking letting your daughter get kidnapped 3 fucking times? Like, you know what I mean? I guess
Yeah,
the second one wasn't his daughter, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. What do you mean, Bruce Willis? Like, how many sci-fi movies can you think of that he's done?
God, like 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys was fire.
It is a good movie. I liked Looper. But,
Looper's
okay,
dope.
God, there's just so many that I haven't seen that I can't even name right now, but I've seen.
Fifth Element,
Fifth Element was good. But he has, like, fucking
Armageddon.
Armageddon, but I'm thinking more of 80s, right? Or was he? Yeah, I'm thinking more of, like, 80s, 90s, I guess. I guess Armageddon was 90s, but that was, like, late 90s, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Or was it?
That was either early 2000s or late 90s. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. Because Aerosmith came out with a banger. And that, with that
Don't
fucking...
wanna close
Oh,
my
dude.
eyes. That was the shit, bro.
That was the shit, dude. I was like, God damn, they came back fucking swinging.
Nah, but so what was your point about picky?
I don't know. I'm just bullshitting, I guess. But I don't know. There's just so many movies. I will watch like just a 80s sci-fi movie, and if it seems too much like fucking Terminator and not like its own thing, I'm like, God.
I think sci-fi could be real corny real quick.
Yes. Okay. That matches it. That matches what I wanted to say.
Like,
could be
it
real
has to
corny
be-
real quick.
See, that's what I liked about this, is that the world building and the story that it told. Like, I could kind of tell, because like I said, I watched this as a kid, so I'm kind of just watching effects and creatures and shit. That's all I'm looking for. But now coming back and actually like reviewing this movie and analyzing it and shit, as I was watching this, I was like, this is a really fucking deep story for a hour and 30-minute 90s
Right,
fucking
right.
movie. So in my head, I'm like, I wonder if there's source material to this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wondered if there was like a book or something this was based off of. And it turns out actually that it was. It was based on a story called Second Variety by Philip K. Dix from 1953.
Wow. Holy shit.
And the story is pretty much a fucking mirror of what this dude wrote. Like, except in the story, it was between, instead of the Alliance and the Nebs, this was between America and the Soviet Union. Because he wrote it right after World War II.
Did it like include like the like fucking droids in it?
It was the
or
whole
whatever?
thing, yeah.
It was
Except
the whole thing. But
except in this dude's story, the war was happening on Earth, and there was nukes and shit.
Mhm.
The Americans created the fucking little sword things in the floor.
Mhm.
And so it's the exact same story. So they legit just verbatim retold this dude's story.
That's wild. Well, you know what? That kind of makes. I guess I understand why they would have made. Because if they would have just did that, it kind of because like the war is past and shit. So it's kind of like, well, we can't really bring up that. Like, you know what I mean? It wouldn't
Mhm.
really be in
It
the
wouldn't.
time period. I guess.
That kind of was a better idea because that makes this kind of more timeless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because given that they just created factions, if they had used America and Soviet Union, kids would be like, "What the fuck is the Soviet Union?"
Right. They'd be like, that didn't happen.
Like, oh, this is an old fucking movie. They're talking about the Soviets.
Right.
But no, so I could just tell while I was watching it, like, you know, this story is very deep.
Mhm.
Like, it's more thought out than just some black and white plot.
Yeah. More so than most sci-fi movies. I honestly hated on this movie a little bit too much just because my fucking thing kept freezing.
Mm-hmm.
But I did notice, like, I was like, there is a lot more into the fucking. Maybe I was just looking at kind of the graphics, but there was a lot more into the movie, and like you said, with sci-fi, oh shit, oh that's my keys. With sci-fi, you said it can get corny really quick, like. When you say that, almost anything can get corny, right? Like the graphics, but like one thing that can get super corny with sci-fi and is like the most important thing that you cannot fuck up is the fucking storyline. You know what I mean? Like if you fuck
Yeah.
up if the storyline could be absolutely like a cornball, you know what I mean?
Or like Splice, movies about mutation and shit.
Yeah, I haven't seen that full movie.
I saw that at the movies with my dad, bro. And there's a scene where some guy fucks an alien, and there was like little 10-year-old kids behind me.
That's wild.
I was like 12, so it wasn't all that like weird at the time.
Yeah, I guess at the time you're like, whatever. That's fucking funny.
But nah, dude, like Independence Day, stuff like that.
Independence Day.
But those are like examples of like being done right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when we think, because like the sci-fi movies I know. Okay, here's the thing: the sci-fi movies I don't know very well. I don't remember them because I turned it off like 10 minutes in. You
So
know
it
what I
sounds
mean?
like maybe you're not a big sci-fi guy.
Yeah,
like,
not
especially
really.
I think this moment's kind of like me too. Like really, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not a big sci-fi guy, but like this thing is when they're done like right, I really like it. Have you seen the new Thing?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that movie.
I saw that one time and I can't remember it too well. I just remember like some of the creatures vaguely.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Like surprisingly, I thought it was gonna be shit.
I think I went in like ready to not like it, so I kind of don't have positive feelings about it. But I'd have to go back and actually like rewatch it to like
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah, that's a shitty thing when you go in like I'm not gonna
Like
this
they're gonna
movie.
fuck this up. Because have you seen the old Thing, right?
The 80s one or like the
80s
old
one.
Yeah, I did. I liked it.
The 80s one, bro, just the practical effects in that like set a bar so high that I was like, okay, I don't think they're gonna be able to do this again.
Yeah. Well, plus you got like fucking Kurt Russell just fucking being a fucking badass in it, so that's why I like that too.
Yeah. But no, so I mean, this is just to learn something. Like, have you ever seen Event Horizon?
Why is that so goddamn familiar?
Because that would be a perfect like. That's like one of the most horror of the horrorest of horror-y films that you could get in space.
Event Horizon. What's it about?
It's about future people, spaceship colony they go to look for a ship that's gone missing because the ship figured out how to teleport, right?
Uh-huh.
And it ends up being that the way they teleported was it folds time and it punches through it. But what they didn't know is when it punches through, it's not just going through, it's passing through hell as it's going to the other location. So it's more or less about this like possessed spaceship that's been through hell, and they're kind of visiting the ship and seeing like what a ship looks like after it's gone through hell.
That's
And they're
kinda
slowly
fucking
going
cool.
back.
That's kind of fucking. Isn't it good? Like,
Oh, dude, it's fucking terrifying.
how old is it?
A little older than this, like 98 or something, I bet. Who's in it? Fucking Lawrence Fishburne's in it.
No way.
Morpheus, pre-Matrix.
Yeah. That's wild. That is wild. That's a cool because you don't really in sci-fi movies. You don't really have like
There's not
especially a
that
horror.
religious thing, right?
Yeah, they don't have the religious things. It's sci-fi. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? And especially, but like that would be. That sounds like a perfect setup for a horror. You know what I mean? It is, but you know what I mean? Like, because they try to overdo. That's another thing that bothers me about sci-fi. They try to overdo the typical robots are gonna take over, or
Man's gonna kill itself.
man, yeah,
That's
yeah,
the big one. All right, we're gonna fuck ourselves with technology.
right. And in that, like, it's kind of like if it's a horror, like sci-fi, it kind of makes sense they're going together. But that's like a totally different concept. That's like, that's not
That's way out of left field, bro.
right. Yeah, it's very left field. I like it.
But no, so pretty much that's going to be our intro to this. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the actual film, spoiler territory. So if you haven't watched this, go ahead and stop, go check the film out, and come back. If not, be prepared. This is Screamers. So we start with really cheesy like text effects. It looks really fucking bad. 2078, we're on a mining colony planet. I didn't even care what the name of the planet was because it doesn't matter. And we're dealing with two factions, the Neb Corporation and the Alliance. Did you even gather like that information?
Dude, my thing kept pausing, and I redid it like 12
like the
fucking
more you're talking
times.
about this, I realize these little details you're gonna have missed.
Right.
So okay, so did you pick up on that? The guys we're following, the side that we're telling the story through, is the Alliance.
Mhm.
They were miners on this planet.
Right.
And they were digging up some type of baridium, I think that's what they called it, for this Neb Corporation, NEB. And when they discovered there was radiation in the fucking baridium, these miners were like, yo, we're not touching this stuff anymore. And for some reason, that was reason enough for the Neb Corporation to just declare war on all the miners. So the guys who worked for the Alliance were miners.
Right.
They weren't soldiers. And that's pretty much the two sides that were built in. That's the backstory for why they're in this situation. Did you
Right.
pick that up? Because I didn't catch that as a kid.
I didn't. Like I said, I kind of like that part. I should have known it, but it kept splicing, so I had to like re-listen to it. So no, I didn't pick that up. I remember them talking about I remember them kind of talking about it. I remember seeing the scroll. It was so cheesy. It was so funny though,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
like the deep voice and stuff.
The whole 90s fucking deep voice. Like,
Yeah.
it was basically them trying to copy Star Wars.
Yeah, but like in a
Like, if all they had was PowerPoint to do it with.
yeah, like in a world where like it was almost like a radio guy did Star Wars, like in a world where
Like the off-brand radio guy.
yeah, not see, dude. This is the Savers version.
But so apparently, we're introduced to this story like 10 years after this war started. And apparently, the Neb Corporation decided to drop nukes all over this planet and killed a whole bunch of the Alliance and their families and stuff. And in retaliation to that, the Alliance created robots. They called them swords.
Was it? Is that what they?
I think they were. I mean, they called them screamers eventually, but their technical name was swords. And they're like these little robots that like burrow in the ground, kind of like trimmers,
right.
and they just fuck people up. Anything with a heartbeat, they're gonna fuck up.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer for this, it looks like the same trailer to
Trimmers. Is
Trimmers.
that all it is? Is just the ground fucking?
yeah, it's a ground moving.
kind
and
of
I was
like what's a cartoon character that does that? Bugs Bunny.
oh, I was thinking of Courage for some reason. Didn't he do that too?
I don't think Courage the Cowardly Dog burrows, bro.
He doesn't burrow. I thought he went under. I don't know, but yeah, I guess Bugs Bunny I think did that.
So that's what these things do. And that's how the movie starts, actually, is one man from the Neb Alliance, or the Neb Corporation, the NEBs. He's coming to the Alliance bunker with a peace treaty. And as he's walking through this like desert wasteland looking thing, one of the swords come, or a bunch of the swords come, actually, a bunch of the screamers. They're called screamers because they make a screaming sound, right?
Yeah.
Is it the sound of like the metal like spinning?
Is that what that is? Yeah, I'm guessing. Because, like, yeah, because when it goes off and the guy, like, doesn't he, like, nick his finger or something? Or he's like, ow. It, like, kind of makes that sound, right?
It's kind of like a whistling sound from the
Yeah,
gears
yeah,
and shit, and
yeah.
the blades turning. It's
Right.
and that's why they call it screamers, I'm assuming. And cuts the dude's leg off, cuts the dude's arm off, all kinds of shit, right?
Yeah.
And so the guys from the Alliance, they have bracelets that make it so that the screamers won't fuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
So they go out, they check the message this dead dude's holding, and like I said, it ends up being like a treaty. And I believe after that, that's when they take it to our main guy. We're introduced to the main character of the movie. What the hell? Peter Weller, the guy who played fucking RoboCop.
Mm-hmm.
And never recognized that was RoboCop because I didn't see RoboCop. I only saw the third one, and he wasn't in it.
Oh, was it someone else who played RoboCop?
He played the first two, but not the third one.
Not the third one. He's in something else, man. He's like a bad guy in I swear, in another movie. I don't know. He looks fucking familiar.
A lot of old movies, man. It'd be hard to reference it.
It would be hard to reference it for sure.
And also, after the dude got killed outside, did you pick up on that the screamers actually like burrowed his body into the fucking ground?
Yeah.
Like they were taking his body parts?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was interesting.
Mhm.
I was like, what do they do? Do they like fucking trash compact the shit?
I don't know. Why would they need it? Why would they need it? I don't know. That's kind of a fucked up, like, it's kind of like you program the thing to do that. That's kind of fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that was kind of like, it's kind of explained that I guess the way they create these things, like the guy says, he's like, the guys made a lab or something, and they hit a button to start the AI, and they would like build themselves and maintain themselves, and they left them to their vices.
Right.
Horrible idea, bro.
Yeah, but you know what's so crazy is like, it's like you ever wonder if that shit would have happened if an AI just fucking was like, oh nope, I get it, I have a mind of my own now.
There's tons of movies about that, man. Between
Right.
fucking Skynet with Terminator, Ultron, and the Avengers movies.
But wouldn't you just like figure out a fucking? And they did this in Terminator, like Salvation, where you find a frequency just to fucking turn them all off.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like if Elon Musk was still, like, if he was around in this time period, he'd be like, I got it. I'll just create this. And I'll fly in my fucking Tesla now. It's flying car. And I'm going to come down and I'm going to fucking press a button. They're all going to fucking, or the robots just know it's Elon Musk. So they're like, master. And they fucking bow to him or
Something,
shit.
bro. Like, there's got to be some kind of fail-safe.
All right.
Like, in this situation, you're creating this kind of technology, there always has to be an off button.
Right. Right.
Because
See,
you can't leave technology unchecked like that.
yeah, for sure. I mean, even my fucking computer scares me. Even my phone scares me. You
Listen,
think
even the
about
same way,
something-
bro, you turn on your stove, right, to cook something, you got to use gas.
Right.
There's a fucking off button for your stove. You can turn off the gas. You don't just leave that shit going and just be like, well, whatever happens, happens.
Right. That'd be dumb. Yeah, it's fucking it's weird. Well, it's just like you know, you ever think of something and then you like comes up on your phone, you're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, how the fuck? Like, I understand saying it, like maybe my phone heard me say it. You know, I understand that, but me thinking it, that's what's wild. That to me is wild.
Well, no, a lot of it's like Facebook and like those big apps, Instagram, like you have them installed on your phone, right?
Right.
You know, when you're installing them, there's like 3 different agreement screens you got to click.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure one of those is saying like, hey, this phone's going to be like, this app's going to listen to you while you're speaking, and that's why the ads are going to pop up.
Right.
So, I mean, you're giving it permission. You just
Right.
don't care to fucking
You just
check.
don't listen to it. It's like that South Park episode, iPad. Have you seen that one? No, they're like, you didn't read the agreement. Like, that's the whole fucking thing.
It was like a Bible-sized agreement. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah, and you don't even understand it or whatever.
But no, so all right. So now this messenger's been killed. His message has been brought to the commander. Bro, I don't know why I didn't know his name the entire movie. The main guy.
The main guy? No, I didn't know anyone's name then.
Bro, his name is fucking Joe.
Joe?
They called him Commander a lot, so I called him Commander in my notes.
That's wild. Joe. Would you just see it on IMDb? His name was Joe or something?
His last name was Hendrickson, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we'll just go with Joe. I really hope his name was Joe. I might be fucking that up.
Good old Joe.
So Joe gets this message, and he gets with this boy, it's another older guy. These are both older dudes. And they gotta get in contact with home base, which is San Francisco. And so they're talking to, remember they have like a meeting with a higher up. He like walks through double doors, and then the guy starts like glitching out. So it's not actually a guy, it's a hologram.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the holograms in the 90s. Because why not, just use a screen? It's got to be a fucking full-on, like, silhouette of a person, right?
Right. It's always like, yeah, you think it's a person. Oh, my God, it's a hologram.
And the hologram was, like, when it started glitching, looked like shit.
Yeah.
Looked like jelly or something.
Something like that.
And so this higher-up tells him, like, that message is correct. We are going into peace negotiations because we found more baridium on Trident 6, another planet. And that's another one of those like faults of sci-fi movies is they just start throwing out like trippy ass like names of planets and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be cooler if they took something that was real, like because I know there's planets we found in like the fucking galaxy next to it. If they took that, because I know there's like a planet that's a lot like Earth, right? And then we found it. Like if they took that, whatever we named that, you know what I mean? And like kind of, I don't know, kind
so
of
if it like had actual like names, kind of like in post-apocalyptic movies, like how they rename like New Washington.
Right.
Like
right.
they take things we already know and they just kind of change them slightly.
Put a little spin on it or whatever.
I guess that's hard. That's more creative though, is just fabricate something out of nothing.
Yeah, but it's like it's always the same kind of corny fucking name like Nebula or Nugula or like
You a Star Wars guy?
Yeah, I like Star Wars.
You know how they had like Tatooine?
Yeah.
Can't think of any more.
That's
I have it in
different.
my head.
Star Wars is good at that though. Star Wars is like, okay, because it has its own. And like, if you're a super Star Wars nerd, like what's cool, and like I'm not, but I love Star Wars. Like you go back and watch it, and you like they still reference like even if you don't know the name of the planet, you still are like, that's that one planet. You know what I mean? That's that's what makes Star Wars so fucking good. You know, like the deserty fucking planet, and then you got the one with all the fucking cities. It gets like, I'm pretty sure it gets obliterated at one point, like in the episode 3.
Just the way you described it right now, though, if you really think about it, it's like the desert planet, the jungle planet, the city planet.
Yeah, hey, I guess you're right. It is pretty fucking.
Like, and when you said the desert planet, it just hit my head like, wasn't that creative?
yeah, I guess you're right. It wasn't that creative. Like,
it's like one of them's like the rock planet.
Yeah.
The water planet.
That is fucking true.
One's the planet with only Asians.
Right. Oh, yeah. That'd be funny if it was just a planet of fucking like cholos, bro. That'd be hilarious.
Nothing but just like fucking essays, bro.
Yeah, just vatos just fucking walk around like, hey, fool, get your ass off my fucking planet. That'd be hilarious.
But no. So... yeah, these guys have a meeting with a higher up from San Francisco, and he confirms what the message said, that there's going to be a treaty between the Nebs and them.
Did he meet the guy yet?
Like
no,
the goof
guy? No, he hasn't. Okay.
Because after this, that's when a plane crashes directly outside of their bunker, their base, whatever you call it. And that's when they go outside. There's a fucking plane that's crashed. It's full of weapons. There's nukes in that bad boy. A nuclear reactor that looks like a file cabinet.
Right.
And everybody's dead on the airplane. But one man, Jefferson, I believe. That was his name.
Yeah,
Jefferson.
something like that.
And like you said, he's kind of comedic relief in the movie, right?
Yeah, he's like the dipshit. Like, he's a dipshit.
So he, what does he grab? Because remember, they pull him out of the plane.
He grabs something. Didn't he get like pissed off at him? Or I don't know. He gets pissed off at him like the whole movie.
Yeah, dude, the main guy, Joe, he doesn't like, he has like that little brother, older brother thing going on with him where he's like
Yeah.
annoyed at him the whole time.
Right.
But so Jefferson doesn't have a fucking wristband on. So the Screamers are trying to eat his
That's what it
ass.
is, yeah.
But he breaks free from the guys trying to take him into the base, and he tries to run back into the airplane. And it was this kind of cool scene, you know, when the Screamer is cutting through the plane and you see sparks coming out of the ground.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they start pulling the dead bodies that are on the plane into the fucking ground, like
Right.
as he's watching them.
Right.
And of course, you know, he almost gets fucking torn up by a Screamer, but he's saved by Joe at the last second with a crack shot. And then he goes into the base, and Joe's like, what the fuck, man? Where is this plane going with all these weapons and all these soldiers? And that's when Jefferson tells him, like, oh, we're going to war on Triton 4 or wherever the Beridium was found. And of course, this confuses Joe because he was just told they were about to start a peace treaty. And this confused me.
I didn't know that. This is probably when my thing was fucking up and I had to like skip back and forward.
Yeah. I was confused because so what Jefferson tells him is the guy that Joe's seen on the hologram was dead. He had died. He had been convicted of treason or some shit, and he was executed 2 years before. So the message Joe got was bullshit. And I never understood, like, so was there actually going to be more war? Why they were left on the planet? This whole moment kind of shatters our guy Joe's reality. Because we learned through exposition that Joe's like family, his wife had left him, so he doesn't really have a family at this point. All he has is this job, you know, leading this army, fighting this war. And when he finds out that, you know, pretty much everything he's been being told is bullshit by his higher ups, the dude's got nothing.
Right.
So that's kind of what leads him to make this next choice. Like, all right, I'm going to go out of my way to go talk to the NEBs, the Nebs on this planet myself, because evidently, I think in his mind, he was like, they're leaving us here just to pretty much rot. So I'm just going to end this war on this little planet. I think that was supposedly what was going to happen, is that the war had moved, but they didn't want to tell them for some reason, which I didn't get. Like I said, I'm confused about this part.
Right. I think I don't know. What I like is it's such a love-hate thing with these. Like when they put the politics, like they always got to put or not always, but sometimes they'll put politics right in the sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
And like the cool thing about it is you could watch the movie, then you like politics real life, you don't understand them. Then you go back and you're like, oh, I get it. You know what I mean? That's the cool thing about like, but like this is what drives me nuts about sci-fi. Like when there's politics in like gangster movies, for example, like The Departed and shit like that, like their politics. You go back and you're like, oh, that's why that happened because he couldn't fuck with that guy, but that, you know what I mean? But then when you do it in sci-fi movies, like it's because it's like their own, like a gangster movie. It's like, okay, it's real world, but it's their world. This is like a whole new, you know what I mean? It's like a
there's
whole
like
new
a
world.
whole, there's factions and shit. There's rules and
Yeah, so you don't like, so you have to really explain it, and it's hard to do like show not tell with this because
Yeah.
you still gotta tell and explain, but you also gotta like show it. And sometimes if they show it too much, you don't get like they show it too much, and then you don't get like you're still like, well, what are they trying to say? Because like my world doesn't exist like this.
yeah, like I just did a lot of talking because they definitely put a lot of the politics and world building in the front of the movie. Like everything I just said is probably like the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of, the beginning was definitely information heavy. But I feel like it kind of, the next part, when Joe decides to go to the Neb base or whatever, is a lot where the action kind of picks up, where the movie kind of gets better, in my opinion.
Right.
Because the beginning definitely does drag slightly, learning all this stuff. Like, if you're not heavily invested in the story, like, the story for me was interesting, so I was drawn into it. But like I said, if you're not really able to follow along with it, I could see how this would definitely feel like it would drag.
Right.
But so, yeah. So, like I said, I don't understand. I think what Joe says throughout the movie is that for some reason, their home base or whatever didn't want to. They were still sending them provisions to survive, so they weren't completely abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
But he says they just didn't want. They couldn't do that because people would contact their families. But if they could contact their families, wouldn't they know that like the war was moving somewhere else?
Right. There also doesn't seem like there's a lot of people on this fucking planet. Right.
No, I mean in their base there wasn't there? Like
Yeah,
at
I
the
guess
start?
I guess there was quite a bit. There was a lot of I don't know. There was a lot of weird, like the characters. I don't even want to say they were. I don't want to say the characters were so cliche that they weren't, but it's kind of like that. Like I'm not lying. Like there's always a goofy character, but the goofy like Jefferson. First off, your name's Jefferson, your first name or what? Or I don't know if it's the first or last name, but it's like he's gonna be the goofy guy. You know, like, fucking Jefferson, fucking Jeff.
Definitely flows like that.
You know what I mean? And then Joe. Okay, well, Joe's he's a fucking Joe.
Joe's the leader.
Yeah, Joe's a leader. Like, okay, let's Mike, Joe, Steve. Like, let's just make the names simple, right? And then you got like
His boy is Chuck. Chuck, my friend Chuck. Come on,
Right.
Chuck.
yeah,
That sounds like a friend's name.
Very honestly, you know what would have been way better? I think that the main guy should have named Chuck. That almost kind of sounds but like they would have had to give him long hair, like cut off his fucking hand, had like a fucking blaster for a hand.
Ooh, that reminds me. You seen Starship Troopers?
Yeah, I have. I lucidly it's been a minute, so I
Okay,
wouldn't.
You
be
just
able
said cut off hands, so I thought of the guy from that. But continue.
Yeah, fucking get a fucking cannon for a hand, or maybe like a hook or something like cool, like a blade.
Mhm.
Almost like in American Dad when it's like the end of the world and he's like all badass and shit. Kind of like that. If they would have did that, had Chuck his name's Chuck. He has a fucking scar, gnarly scar. Maybe make the fucking chick have bigger tits. I don't know. Maybe a couple sex scenes in there. I
All
think
right,
this
man.
movie would have
I'm
spiced
starting to
up.
understand now if you were a director, what direction you would go.
Well, okay, I'm not trying to. I'm not. Well. First off, if you look at the fucking different when you sent it to me, it said screamers and it's a chick going. I started dying because I was thinking of like screamers, like a chick being a screamer.
So you're already thinking of like the porn parody in your head.
Yeah,
bro?
I was like, I already had that. Like, not even like I know I have a dirty mind, but right, like the cover, like you can't tell me the cover with the chick looking like she's screaming.
Like eyes up in the air.
They're like eyes up in the air, like and it was just like screamers. I just thought it was fucking hilarious. I was like, oh god, this is funny. This is like it was like comical. Like it like you could like it'd be the easiest way to make a parody out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but okay. So Joe and Jefferson decide to make this trek across, the wasteland. I got like Fallout vibes real heavy from this.
Yeah, makes sense. I could see that.
Like from the clothes to the setting, like it looks like the capital fucking wasteland.
Right.
And they're trekking across like blown up cities, like ruins. And is it snow or desert? Or is it both?
Was there snow? There was snow in it, wasn't there?
Or is that supposed to be like nuclear ash?
That was probably nuclear ash because the whole thing was pretty deserty.
Yeah.
Unless there was, yeah, because that makes sense because you hear about that like a lot. Like in the one Denzel Washington movie, I think there was the same thing in it.
Book of Eli.
Yeah, I think there's the same thing in that.
And also, when they start trekking, this whole movie, the guys have been randomly sparking cigarettes.
Uh-huh.
Did you pick up on the fact that their cigarettes were anti-radiation cigarettes?
No,
They have to smoke the cigarettes to fight the radiation.
that's kind of cool.
That's ironic.
Right.
Because fucking radiation gives you cancer, cigarettes give you cancer, but not these cigarettes, bro. They
They're, like,
fight the
healthy
cancer.
Cigarettes. It's almost like, you know, back in the day, like in old 40s, 50s, like everyone's smoking constantly.
Mm-hmm.
But like now, it's like, okay, we're gonna do some good.
Bro, nobody wants like actual beer or anything.
All right.
Who knows, man? Nah, but anyways, so Joe and Jefferson, they're tracking across the wasteland, and they run into a little boy who looks like... Who does a little boy look like, bro? Kenny from South Park, the little boy from A Christmas Story, his little brother.
Yeah, I guess he's all bundled up.
He's got this monster fucking coat.
I thought I actually kind of liked it. It kind of felt like I said, this is when it felt to me like Terminator Salvation.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, honestly, like if maybe the person who made Terminator Salvation watched this movie. If I'm gonna be honest, like that's what I thought. I was like, you know, that's one thing I give respect to this movie, because I actually am one of the few that likes that movie, Terminator Salvation.
I've seen it one time. I like it.
I like it as like a war movie, and they have crawlers in it too, or whatever. Yeah, so I was like,
Didn't they bring back young Arnold? Like they put some
they
prosthetic
fucking
on the dude's face.
airbrushed him.
That shit was fucking tight.
Yeah, it was tight. You know what's so funny? I went to that movie with my grandma, and they fucked up the times because my grandma read the paper and didn't look online. You know, she's old. So we went the ending of it, and then I saw fucking Arnold airbrush, and I was like, no fucking way. I thought it was the beginning, and then it ended, and the guy was like, oh, sorry about that, and got us like fucking ice cream, and then we ended up going to the second movie. But that movie is a lot. I think that movie is a lot like this. Like, it's deserty.
The setting.
Yeah, the setting. And like, obviously, or maybe honestly, the guy, like, Terminator Salvation, like, read the book. You know what I mean? That this is based off of.
Could have.
That could be a possibility, because like I said, these like crawler things are very similar to
Well, it's kind of like, you ever heard of Dune?
Dune.
Dune.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's basically, it's kind of up there with like Star Wars and Star Trek in terms of how big the universe is and how like popular it is.
Huh.
It's a sand planet, fucking post-apocalyptic sci-fi future movie. That's a whole nother fucking thing I'm not going to get into, but it's similar to that also.
Right.
But no, so yeah, so you said you got Terminator Salvation vibes.
100%. Especially with the kid coming in and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of, don't they like save him? Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't they like save him from something?
Nah, they just kind of pluck him out of the fucking, kind of like, you seen Alien 2? Aliens?
Yeah.
Kind of like with the little girl. Like they just kind of, she's surviving a scavenger all on her own. The group takes her in, but in this case, the guys take the little boy in.
Right.
He's got like a little teddy bear, a little scarf.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember his catchphrase?
No, I don't.
You remember what he says? The first words he says, "Can I come with you?" And it like echoes every time the little fucker says it. And at first they're gonna leave him there and they're gonna go to the Neb base and then come back for him. But old dude Jefferson's like, bro, we can't leave this little boy alone in the nuclear fucking wasteland, dog. We gotta take him. And I think they're about to be like, fuck it, but then the kid, like I said, he kind of comes out of nowhere and he's like, "Can I come with you?" And then Joe's like, "All right, fuck it. He can come, I guess."
Think if fucking Jefferson never came along, that little boy would have been fucked, dude. That
Yeah,
little
bro.
boy-
Joe would have definitely just, he
He'd
gave
been
that
like,
kid
"Fuck
he
you."
didn't give him like a candy bar and he was like, "Eat this. Stay alive." And then he just walked off.
Like,
dude.
be a tough kid. You know, it could be a pussy.
Pretty much, bro.
It's one of those vibes. Could be a fucking pussy.
Imagine if like Jefferson wasn't there and like the kid says, "Can I come with you?" over his shoulder, and Joe would have just turned his head. No.
Yeah.
Kept fucking walking,
No.
dude.
Like, he just goes, "Oh, I guess I'll just play with this rock."
Pretty much, dude.
Oh god, that'd be fucking horrible. You know, that'd be funny. That'd be funny spoof or something like that. That'd be funny. Like, no.
I
And he
like
just
that
fucking-
that Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. How about no?
Yeah, how about no, you crazy Dutch bastard?
But no. So Jefferson and Joe, they take this kid in and it's nighttime, so they light a fire. and they decide to rest up, you know? And for some reason, bro, Jefferson decides to take off his fucking wristband while he's wearing these shades, and it looks like he's watching a movie or something.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
yeah, this part's funny.
And so while he's watching these shades with his fucking bracelet off, a screamer, bro, just zooms right towards him. And I'm pretty sure he gets saved by Joe at the last second.
Yeah, he does.
Joe shoots the thing before it kills Jefferson. And so Joe gets up, and like you said, he's pissed off at Jefferson all the time as it is. But at this fucking stupidity, he like snatches the glasses from Jefferson and he puts them on, and it's porn.
Yeah.
He's watching like futuristic porn.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking cool. I was like, whoa.
Like as he's sitting about the distance me and you are from Joe and this little boy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and he's just beating it. Or maybe he's not. Maybe he's just watching porn, I guess.
Like what else? What other reason would you be staring at like just titties, bro? It was like 9 chicks like floating in space, like flashing their fucking titties.
He's
Nobody
like,
watches that just because it's fun.
yeah. Hey, he's like, keep your fucking bracelet on. That was funny. He's like, keep your fucking bracelet on. I was like, God. But you know what? They're kind of on point with something because like you could do the VR shit, you know. But like this is like just glasses, man.
It was just shades.
They upped the game, man.
And the little kid's reaction to this, I think he just laughed, which didn't really say a whole lot. It's just, you know, it was funny, like you said.
Right.
And so the next morning, they get to the Neb base, I believe. And as they're approaching, there's a guy like with a sniper rifle looking through some tunnel. And it's a futuristic movie, so the sniper can tell, like the scope tells you who has a weapon. He points it at Joe. It says armed on the bottom corner of the screen. Points at Jefferson, says armed. Looks over the little boy, David. The kid's name is David, by the way. It says armed as it's going over David. So, but David's not holding any weapons, so why the fuck would it say armed? So he pans over everybody's body again, and it stops on Joe, and you see the guy's finger, and he squeezes the trigger. He shot David. He didn't shoot Joe. And it's at this moment that we find out that David is a fucking robot. He's a screamer because he's got like mechanical insides and shit.
Right, that's what that was. Okay.
And that's when Joe and Jefferson are looking over the kid's body, and then all of a sudden the kid's mouth opens up to reveal like razor sharp fucking teeth. And he
Yes,
starts
okay.
screaming.
I remember this.
And then they shoot his dome off. So what'd you think about that reveal?
I think that's kind of cool. Well, I think it's almost like I'd have to watch it again, but it's more like unexpected. I didn't expect it, probably because it was a 90s movie, but I think if they made it now, I'd expect it like, okay, the kid's covered up. Okay, he might be a robot. Okay, no, he seems normal. Oh, no, he's a robot. I fucking knew it. You know what I mean? And, but like, there's like kind of a disconnect sometimes with like you know what I mean? Like with the 90s, like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't like. It's weird with me. I just like sometimes there's a disconnect of like what they're trying to portray. So I don't know. Maybe that's what I thought. But I thought as like the storyline, it was I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I get that disconnect with like movies from like the 70s. For some reason, I get 80s movies, but like 70s and under, I kind of get that. Like, I get like cloudy vision out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like there's a disconnect, definitely. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like they're trying to portray something so small, and you don't get like they could be joking. They could be just saying a little small joke, and you're like, I really didn't get it. It's not even that it was like a 70s joke, and maybe it is or whatever, but it's just like I don't know. It's just
like it's just for that time period. It's so far from you. It's kind of like
yeah, it's almost watching like a play, and you're like, they're trying to portray, you know, because also they were more exaggerative back then too.
Yeah.
As well.
But no, like, all right, so the cat's out of the bag now. So we got robot kids in this movie.
Cyborgs.
They fucking murked a lot of children in this fucking movie, bro.
But it's cool. It's like the thing. It's like you can show fucked up shit to kids when they're cartoons. Like they're just robots, so it's okay, right?
Not even. Because you think about it, like, even in the Fallout games or the Elder Scrolls games, you're not allowed to kill kids. It's impossible. I mean, there's mods you can do it with, but, like, the actual game that they sell, you can't touch kids.
Right.
Like, you can chop up every single person in the game as long as they're above the age of, like, 12.
Mm-hmm.
But any child, untouchable.
Yeah.
So to see that in these movies you can definitely notice the difference.
Right. Hey, anything that's portrayed as like a kid and then in like something fucked up happens to it, it's like, oh shit. It's almost kind of like what we talked about that last time with when the kid fucking on ABC's Death and the kid dies on the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, oh shit, like that's fucked up. You know what I mean? It's like, god damn, like you just kill, even though it's a cartoon, like, and it's like you can do it because it's, you know what I mean? Like it's a little more like than just actually showing an actor get killed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, well, you just killed a kid. That was a little far. Like showing this, it's still, it almost like it puts that big rated R sign on there. Like, I'm investing you in this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's definitely a horror movie trope that kids are untouchable. That's kind of up there with like the virgin can't be touched, the kids can't be touched. So whenever a movie does that, it's always a little extra edgy that I like.
Yeah, for sure. I hate when they kill dogs. Oh man, I'm such a dog person. It fucking pisses me off.
Shout out John Wick.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. I go John Wick on him, dude.
Edgy as fuck, bro. I loved it.
Yeah.
But no, so the guys in the Neb base come out after they shot, this David kid, and they tell him like, yeah, this is a tagger screamer. It tags along with people outside of bases, and it goes into the base, and that's when it reveals its true form once you've brought it inside, and it fucks everybody up. Because apparently that's what happened to this Neb base that we're kind of explained to in exposition. They brought in a David, they took it into that basement part of that base, and that's why everybody down there got fucking wrecked.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch on to that part?
No, I didn't. I didn't catch on a lot of things. Like I said, this thing, fucking TV kept pausing.
No, like I said, I don't blame you, man, because the first time I saw this a long time ago, none of it made sense to me.
Right. You were just like, well, you're pretty young too, right?
I was like 10 or under.
Right. So you're like, it's just a fucking movie.
I'm just watching. I'm here for the tits.
Yeah, for the tits and the effects. Mainly the tits, right?
Most of the tits. No.
Hey, what's the big change in like 70s, 80s, and 90s and 2000s boobs, man? There's a big change. The bras, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you look at Halloween, it's like they got the triangular tits.
Uh-huh.
Now they got the round tits, you know? It's crazy. Movies are crazy, man. They really show. They're crazy. They show the fucking, like, especially when I watch it, I'm like, wow. Like, golly. I remember as a kid, like, golly. Like, those are tits back then.
You just set that up like a Seinfeld joke.
Like, golly. Yeah.
Bras. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, what's the deal with that? What's the deal with 70s boobs, eh? It's so weird. It's so weird seeing, because you're like, I definitely watched fucking Friday the 3rd, or like the new Jason movie the other day, and it was like, well, tits are totally different now,
Nah, so these two dudes, they come out of the Neb base, and their names are, I didn't pick this up at all, I had to read this after the fact, are Becker and Ross. Now, Becker was the dude with the shades that was too cool for school.
Yeah.
He was the guy that, I can't even, how do you mimic that guy's fucking voice?
I don't know.
I had to take out the screamer. You guys don't understand.
Right.
Something like that, like real.
That's pretty good.
Real
impression.
drown out, like
Yeah.
real deep, low, growly ass voice.
Yeah. Too, like, he had the fucking kind of like sandy fucking hair too, like
real like pushed out fucking blonde.
pushed
like,
out blonde. Yeah. Like I'm a fucking I'm
like
a
Mad
G.
Max type shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like he's a badass. Okay, it's established. And Ross is like the smaller. He's got the Harry Potter glasses. One of them's cracked, a little bit more squirrely and nervous. So that's kind of the dynamic we get from those two right off the bat. So they take Jefferson and Joe into their base. Like I said, we find out that their base is actually like a mining facility. Because I was wondering, I was like, why does this whole place look like a fucking Freddy Krueger? It's all metal. There's nothing but steel everywhere.
Yeah, and there was this where there was like a shit ton of people in there? Or is this
No, it was literally just 3 of them. It was
Okay.
3 guys and the 1 female.
I get where we're at.
And like I said, that's when they learned that their base is actually under that. But their base, they let the Davids in. And that's when David fucked them all up in the basement. And that's kind of, we're kind of given a little bit of exposition about the group, but nothing real important. We learned that the female that runs the place is a weapons dealer. She sells black market weapons. And Jefferson kind of points out, like, bro, she's got a mini nuke. Once again, a Fallout fucking reference, because there's mini nukes in Fallout.
Right.
That's all I keep thinking about every time I see that shit. And somehow Joe talks everybody into going into the basement. Bro, if you know that there's killer robots in the basement, why would you go? It's not like they're not going to be there.
Oh, I know why. They're white. That's why they go.
That's right. Every single person in that group was white.
Yeah, that's why they go. And then, like, the whitest guy, it tells them, hey,
true.
dude. Well, actually, no, I think Jefferson's, like, the more whiter guy. But, like, the badass of the whites, he's like, no, we're going.
He's
We ain't
like-
no fucking pussy.
There's this moment where the camera just zooms in on his face and he goes, guys. And they all look at him and he's like, I heard a noise downstairs. And the magnet turns on, bro, and they all have to go into the basement.
We have to. We have to.
I think he was pretty much like, I need to speak to this specific commander to talk about this message. Even though old girl's been like, yo, everybody's dead. And he's like, no, I got to see for myself. And for some reason, they're all like, might as well.
Right.
So they go into the basement. And of course, they see dead bodies everywhere. This is the first time we see a screamer above ground, the blades. And it's like a metal iguana. Is that what it looks like?
Dude, you know, it looks like a my mom has a Jack, you know what a Jack Russell Terrier is?
Yeah.
Yeah. They fucking look like my mom's dog is a fucking metal, just like walking around like
The fucking feet clink on the metal floor.
Yeah, because when she walks, it's like
Mm-hmm.
so I thought it was fucking funny. And they're all scared of it. Like they were like giving context, obviously I'd be scared of it too, like in the movie. But like in that scene, like if I just walked in and didn't know anything about the movie, I'd be like, why the fuck are they running from this fucking... Do you remember when they had those toys come out where they fucking crawled and they shot Nerf guns? Remember those things?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also like that's what it is.
It looks ridiculous.
Yeah. But those were kind of creepy though. I'm not gonna lie. Those were a little creepy.
No. So they go down there, they see this fucking screamer, and at one point Joe and Jefferson are the only guys who have the bracelets. So I guess if they stand near people, then they can't get attacked also.
Yeah, do you think that the bracelets are like some kind of frequency that tells them to fuck off?
Yeah.
Is that what that like they're trying to say?
That's what it was supposed to be. I
Okay.
think. But so at one point, one of the screamers attacks one of the guys. So Jefferson gets in front of it with his bracelet, and it stops.
It's like a cross.
And it's like, all right, okay. But then it comes back and attacks still. So it's at this point that Joe and Jefferson realize, like, oh, these things are,
Shitty.
yeah. No, actually, that they are evolving. They're starting to be able to attack us even with these bracelets.
Right.
And also, remember how I talked about the part where they were sucking body parts into the ground? So something Joe says about that is that the screamers use all the parts of a human body. Like they use the meat on the bones is for emits methane, so it's some type of gas, so fuel.
I remember this because
They use it as fuel, and the eyeballs makes for good grease for their fucking blades. So just like little details like that, bro, are the kind of shit that interested me that I was like, oh, that's fucking deep.
That was because I remember it cut at that part, and I was like, oh shit, that's kind of cool. And I remember, didn't they do something with the brain as well?
Something also with the brain.
Something also with the brain, like is developing, like it's I don't know if it's like eating and then like scanning like what the fuck we have going on in our brain, so it's understanding us better. And I was like, wow, that's pretty fucking cool. Like that's when I was like respecting little things of this movie, but that's like one thing I was like, okay, it's giving me, I'm giving this movie more of a pass.
Yeah. And also when they're in this basement part and they walk into like the main command post, for some reason there's fucking there's computer screens and like laser beams everywhere. Because in the 90s, that's what they thought the future would look like. That's what Star Trek thought the fucking thing would look like. Blinking lights and shit everywhere. And there's a big ass, not a, kind of like, in the mall, whenever there's like maps.
Yeah.
Instead of a map, though, was this picture that said "Rediscover Paradise" on Sirius 6B. That's the name of this planet they were on. but it has a picture of like a family like held up, like a guy in a Hawaiian shirt like pointing. And again, once again, the Fallout vibes heavy as fuck. Because remember in Fallout, there's always these talks about like paradise, this,
Right.
everything's happy-go-lucky, the nuclear family and shit.
Right. Nuketown, kind of.
So that's definitely what like the vibes that this just kicks off to me. And so anyways, this whole shit happens with the fucking the Screamer attacking them anyways with their bracelets. And that's when after they shoot it, they hear, "Can I come with you?" echoing through the fucking halls. So it's like,
shit.
bro, that's what I think of every time I think of this movie. Is that for me is like etched into my fucking brain.
Right.
The little boy just saying, "Can I come with you?" So Joe tells everybody, "All right, all you guys fucking dip," and he stays. And he's been pulling like chips out of all these Screamers. And apparently there was some setup in this Neb command base that he could like check for the Screamers' identities. He slid the chip in and it'd say type whatever, type this. He saw type 1 and type 3, but type 2 was unknown. So that's like a mystery at this point.
Okay. Now I'm piecing it together.
So he's like, all right, well, what's the second type? I got to know what the second type is and what it looks like. Because he saw the David and he saw the fucking metal Jack Russell Terrier thing we saw.
Yeah.
So as he's doing this in the silhouette in the background, you could see like a fucking David coming towards him. And there's two of them actually chasing him.
Mm-hmm.
So then he starts having to run out of this fucking bunker. And the whole time, you know, you see just like shadows of Davids and shit. And I thought that was a really cool scene as he's like making his way out of that bunker. So he gets out though unscathed. And so now they're all like back in like the main facility part where the mining equipment is, or it looks like Freddy Krueger's fucking lair. And this is where it kind of turns into The Thing a little bit, because now everybody's paranoid. They're like, okay, what's type 2? Who's type 2? Type 2 could be anybody.
Right.
And like I said, there's these dudes, Becker and Ross. They're the two members of the Neb guys that brought Joe and Jefferson in. And they're fucking with each other. And Ross is the little squirrely guy. He keeps telling Becker, because he's fucking with him, he keeps saying, "Get off my back." And Becker's like, "Hey, you know, a characteristic of these robots we're learning is that they don't have big speech patterns. They repeat themselves." So this dude Becker, he's like flustered. He keeps saying, "Get off my back." I said, just get off my back. And at some point, for some reason, he draws his gun towards Becker. But before he can do that, this dude Becker chucks a fucking knife into his chest
Right.
from like 20 feet away. Just fucking bullseyes him right in the heart. One shot, that's it.
And he's not a robot.
And he's not a robot. That's the reveal.
He's shit.
Mm-hmm. And Joe's the one who pulls the knife out, and he goes, "Well, this man's bleeding, sir, so that makes you a murderer." And they kind of brush it off like nothing happened.
Yeah. People
'Cause-
die all the time.
Because they all go back. They're all going back to the Alliance base now. They make that trek, right?
Right.
And I feel like that happens in 30 seconds. Mind you, when he did the trip with Jefferson, it took like 15 minutes. But for them, blinks. They're outside the fucking base. Literally the snap of a finger. And they get outside the base. And Joe's like, he's calling on his radio. He's talking to Chuck, right? Oh, this whole time he's been giving updates to Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. So once he discovers about the Davids and the little boy, he tries to call back to the base. And he's like, "Hey, if you see a little boy, don't let him in." But the radio signal's all janky. And through those transmissions, Chuck's telling him like, "Oh, we found a guy. We let him in." Something like that. So vaguely they're foreshadowing that, you know, they've already let in
Right.
the little boy, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So now we fast forward. And the group's already reached the base. And Joe's talking to Chuck, and he's like, "Hey, Chuck, go ahead and come on out. We're here." And Chuck keeps repeating himself. "Come on down, Joe. You're all clear." No, you come out here. "Come on out, Joe. Or come on down, Joe. You're all clear." He says it like 6 times. And finally, Joe goes, "Hey, Chuck, let me talk to the Kool-Aid man." And Chuck's like, "All right." And the Kool-Aid Man gets on the radio. Oh, yeah. And Joe starts backing up, and he goes, the Kool-Aid Man's been dead for 2 years, Chuck. I'm on to you. And that's when the fucking doors open, and we saw like 100, 200 fucking little Davids, right?
Yeah. Just fucking run out, right?
Just an army of the motherfuckers, bro. And that's like probably the climax of this movie, I feel.
See a bunch of like Kennies.
A whole bunch of Kennies from South Park, dude.
Just running
And how
around.
does the group respond to seeing all these children?
Don't they start just fucking blasting them?
Yeah,
with
bro,
these
they retreat to the
big-ass
top of a
fucking
hill,
badass guns, like
and they
Halo
just-
type guns.
They just start dumping on these little boys, bro.
yeah.
Just fucking going ham. And at one point, fucking Joe pulls out a flamethrower, bro. And he just starts flaming. He doesn't even, the physics of this don't make sense because it's just a rifle, but he puts an attachment on it and all of a sudden it could shoot flames.
Right.
There's no tube attaching to gas. This gun just shoots fucking flames.
Yeah, some Halo shit. The guns in this were really, I will say, were really fucking cool. Like, I got Halo vibes, like mad Halo vibes from it. They looked realistic, but then they looked like they, there's something extra to it, right?
Right. So these dudes are just dumping on these fucking little boys in fucking winter coats. And as this is happening, screamers start coming in the fucking ground, man. So now Jefferson's shooting a couple of these things as they're still flanking the fucking Davids. It's fucking madness, bro. And at the height of the moment, fucking Joe goes, Jefferson, give me the mini nuke you stole from that bitch. I know you took it, you slick fuck. Jefferson's like, my bad. Gives it to him, and they shoot the fucking mini nuke right into the base.
Did he actually say that verbatim?
No.
Oh, I was like, dude.
You're like, whoa, that was a fire line.
Yeah, I was like, dude, he should have said that. Who'd you steal that, you slick fuck?
I know you stole that nuke from that bitch.
From that bitch.
You slick fuck. That would have been hella clean, bro.
That one bitch. Wait, the bitch is still. Yeah, because the bitch. Yeah, okay, the bitch lasts all the way through. Right?
Yeah. So he shoots the nuke into the base, and apparently that's enough to just. Because, yeah, flames come over the hill because they jump off of the hill, like, partially on fire. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They were close enough to this explosion that they were, like, kind of on fire as they jumped off the hill. And they black out. They all pass out. And somehow, by the grace of God, they don't get pulled underground by screamers in their fucking sleep. Because they wake up the next morning, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't fucking sleep.
That's something that confused me because, like, there's an endless amount of screamers, right? Because they keep remaking themselves. So there'd be hundreds of thousands of those fucking things,
Yeah,
I would
fuck that.
assume.
I'd be getting on top of something.
It'd be tremors, bro. You couldn't be on the ground. And even then, they'd still get you.
Yeah. But if you're like on top of like a trailer or something, then you'd fucking hear them, right?
Yeah.
Because they scream, right? So you'd fucking hear them coming, at least. But that's the thing is like I guess they don't really sneak up on you very well, right?
No, you hear them coming.
Yeah. They come through the fucking ground.
And so they wake up in the morning, and Jefferson's the first one to get up because he hears Becker calling out for help, right? Oh, yeah, and that's something else I forgot. The Type 2, the female, I can't think of her fucking name. The woman in the group, she says, we've heard of the Type 2. It's a wounded soldier crying for help. She's like, I've heard stories about it, but I've never seen it.
Right.
So that leads to why when Jefferson wakes up, he hears Becker crying for help. And he walks over to him. He's standing over his body. He looks like he's got a wound, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as he's doing that, Joe's like thinking in his head, a wounded soldier crying for help. And he yells, get away from him. But before he can do that, fucking Becker crushes Jefferson's fucking waist in, doesn't he?
Yeah, something like that. Didn't he have like little fucking like coming out of him?
I think
Or is that later?
That might be later.
Yeah, I think that's later.
Nah, but yeah, so fucking crushes his waist. And what happens next? I like this part because doesn't he speak Shakespeare?
I can't remember. It might have
Yeah.
been one of the parts that I fucking had to skip.
Because, yeah, before they even get to the base, Jefferson's talking to Becker because Becker's like, you're new, aren't you? You're a rookie. And then he starts quoting Shakespeare for some reason to try to blow Jefferson's mind.
Mm-hmm.
And Jefferson hears it, so he's like, Shakespeare. And Becker acts like that impresses him.
Right.
So while he's killing him, he's speaking fucking Shakespeare to him to show like, oh, it doesn't matter that I'm a robot. I can quote fucking Shakespeare too.
Right.
So after he kills Jefferson and he starts going after Joe, he's still reciting fucking Shakespeare to Joe, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't Joe shoot him one time in the face?
That's when he has like the shit, right? Because
Yeah.
he's still alive after he shoots him.
But then Joe puts like a rocket on his fucking rifle. You know, that rifle that has any attachment at any second.
Right.
Fucking
Turn it into fucking flame, can turn into whatever.
turns into a rocket launcher.
Right.
And he blows dude in half. Yeah. No, but yeah, so he blows dude in half. And now his like legs are walking towards him. Like I thought that looked tight.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's like his robot spine and shit. Like
right.
as his
Right.
legs
Still
are moving.
going. Yeah.
But no, I like Becker as a bad guy, bro. Becker was fire when he turned evil.
Yeah, I liked it because it's like I don't know why I didn't see this coming because he was like kind of like the douche, right? And he was like kind of like, oh, I'm the badass or whatever. But you still kind of are like, I don't know. There was a suspicion about him, but you know what was weird? Like, and like I said, my thing kept messing up. But like when you watch it, they kind of take him a little bit out of it. You know what I mean? Like other than him killing his friend or whatever, killing the twitchy guy. But they kind of take him out of it enough to where you're like, you don't really think that he could be a robot or anything like that. Because you already had a robot kid.
Yeah.
And then when it's like, okay, type 2, who's type 2? I don't know. Because I saw that part and I was like, I don't think, like, I kind of went through. I was like, I don't know who to expect. And obviously, even now that I think of it, I'm like, oh, it's totally him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, totally.
Yeah, like now it makes sense.
Yeah, now that makes sense. They would be that guy. Like, but also like there's also the like, oh, the chick is the robot. You know what I mean? So that's also kind of what I was thinking they would do.
Yeah. Like to me, this is my favorite part of the movie is when Joe and Jefferson leave the bunker. They meet the little boy. That whole thing that happens at the Neb base, and this whole like fight scene and their fight with Becker right here. I love all of this part. Now the intro is okay, but the part I dislike the end of this movie, like the path that it goes after this.
Yeah, I noticed this because like I had to skip a little bit of the fighting, and then I had to go, and then I started when he kills Becker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now he has to go to the ship. Right
now, yeah, because now it's just him and the woman.
Yeah, now it's just him and the chick.
And
wait,
the first
how
thing
did
he
Jefferson die?
Because remember the guy Becker crushes his hips.
Oh, crushes him. Yeah, okay, yeah, sorry. I got Jefferson and Joe mixed up when you were talking for some reason. Yeah, I remember that. But then now we got like they have to go to the ship, and I was like, why? Like you already kind of solved everything, but now it's like I guess you kind of also forget. It makes it because you kind of forget about the nuke, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it dragged on a little too much.
Yeah, because now this whole time it's been a cool sci-fi movie, I feel like, and it's been world building. There's been these plots, there's twists at every turn, it feels like. And at the end of it, now it's Joe and just this woman. And what he does is he pulls the chip out of Becker, and the woman's like, "Can I see the chip?" And when she reaches for it, he grabs her hand and slices it open. He's like, he sees blood, so he's like, I just had to check.
Right.
I just had to know. And then the two of them ferociously make out in the middle of this fucking battlefield. And from that point on, for some reason, all of a sudden, these two, it turns into a romance movie. Like, these two are fucking soulmates. Even though it was never, like, really... It was kind of hinted at, but it wasn't strong.
There was no, like, tension in it. She was never, like, coming on to him. I felt like...
Like, I didn't feel the connection.
Yeah, I might have missed some small details, but when I saw that, it was just so... It felt so random. And
it felt forced, like a motherfucker.
Yeah, for sure. Also, he's, like, the only... And this does happen sometimes in movies where it's, like... Okay, it's just you and I, and I'm trying to think of another movie this happens where it's like, okay, it's just you and I left, so I guess it's you know, us against the world. So then they become lovers at the end. But and they'll do this where early on there would be like a small connection, but you never suspect it. But with this, like you said, it was forced. Like even sometimes those movies do that. It's like, okay, we get it, we get why they did that, but it didn't feel forced. It kind of felt like a whatever type deal, like a fling almost. This one was just like, I was like, kind of like scratching your head.
Yeah,
right?
because they decide they got to go to a rocket ship. They're gonna get on a spaceship and leave the planet and go to Earth. And there's a scene when they're on their way there of where they're on this fucking mountain. They've lit a fire and they're just cuddling by this fire. And there's like this dope background looking scene. Like I like some of the backgrounds in this movie, by the way.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, it's just like literally this 5-second shot of them embracing by fire, and it just seems random as shit.
Right.
Because now they're like walking through this desert and on the way to the spaceship, and at one point the woman's like, "Yo, I can't make it. I'm too tired." And Joe goes up to her and he goes, "I got nothing, baby." He's like, "I don't got a family. I don't got a job. I just got you." And it's like, bro, he wouldn't say that.
Right.
This
you
dude-
just
this
told a
whole
little
movie,
kid
bro.
to screw off.
This whole movie, you've been this tough fucking bastard, bro. And now all of a sudden you're fucking Leonardo DiCaprio, bro. No.
Right. Well, and see, that's the thing. The critic in me's like, if he would have kind of like, you see him softening, like especially like the girl making him softening up through the movie and stuff like that. But like during this, there's no time. Like you can't soften up. Like you can't. Even the chick's like a badass. Like you can't soften up during this. And then the ending felt really like after it felt like, I know there's like this drag on, like what, 15 20 extra 15 20 minutes left, right?
Mhm.
So it's almost like, yeah, they added this on to it, but like it felt like they're trying to tie up too many loose ends that don't need to be tied.
No, dude, they create this entire other story.
Right. It's
Like in
yeah,
the
I guess
last
that's a
15
better
minutes,
way to
they
say it.
create more ends, bro. Like the story is pretty much done after.
Yeah, everything's tied up. Then they put extensions on it, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they try to tie it up.
Because check it out. So in this book, right, I'm gonna summarize this book because I glanced over it one time last night at like 1 a.m. while I was at work.
Cool. Nice.
I think in the book, the way it ends is Joe and this woman get to the spaceship. So it's all the same up until this point. But then they get fucking bombarded by like Davids, by Beckers, by all these different
sorts of-
clones
yeah.
of like androids. And he ends up letting the woman get on the spaceship with the bear. And he realizes after she's left, she was a robot. He's there alone with like a button with a nuke. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna kill myself and all these robots. Bam.
That's cool.
Right. And he's like, you know what? And he's okay though, because like it's similar to this, how like the robots fight each other a little bit. So he's like, his last words are like, all right, at least these robots have learned to kill each other. Boom. That's his last like thing.
Right.
I feel like that would have been a more powerful ending than what this was.
Yeah, because didn't he just kind of like leave off the thing and leave the chick?
So I'm just going to speed through what this last 15 minutes of this movie was. And it's confusing as shit, so be prepared to be lost.
You're right, though. It was a second story. Like, it was an add-on. It was like a completely new movie, almost.
So Joe and this woman get to this like hidden mountain base that has a spaceship. There's a little like pad on the wall that only his hand can open. Boom. Little mountain door opens up. Corny as shit. They go inside. He's like, all right, how do I use this? He's like, there's a chair. Maybe if I sit in it, it'll turn on. Sits in it. Fucking intercom says, the rocket will launch in 20 minutes. There we go. But there's a crane in the way. I got to move this obstruction out of the way. It turns into a fucking like video game challenge. They got 20 minutes. So he goes to move the crane. While he's moving the crane, his boy Chuck is there. And of course he knows he's a robot at this point. But Chuck's fucking with him and he's speaking in different people's voices. And for some reason the one he sticks on is Becker's. Because Becker was a good villain. That's why he has Becker's fucking voice.
Right.
So they're fighting fucking over the top of this crane. And they fight hand-to-hand combat. And it looks goofy as shit. I don't know if you picked up on this. You'd have to rewatch it.
I'd
but
have to rewatch it because I think I skipped it past this part. Actually,
this is the most blatant point of like stunt doubles in the history of movies, bro.
like
'Cause
they
they're-
got paid minimal for this
Bro,
shit.
they're doing like the bare minimumist of the stunts you could have. Like they're not even crazy stunts. Like it's
Right.
one shot of this dude from the back of his head. He's like going downstairs a little quicker, and I'm looking at the guy like that's a whole nother guy.
Right, you could tell.
Like,
you
and
could
all he's
totally
doing is
tell.
walking downstairs like really fast, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Right,
Or
you
he
can
does like
twist his
a
ankle.
he does a little leap, foot leap, and it's like a whole nother dude.
Ah,
That's all I took
funny.
away from that fight, bro. It was a corny ass fight. So Joe beats Chuck. He pushes him off the crane onto a laser or some shit. And then, so now it's him and his woman. And they get to the spaceship. It's only got one seat, man. It's a one-seater.
She could have probably sat on his lap.
The Titanic argument.
That's what
bro.
I was about to say. It's like Jack. It's like Jack. He
Listen,
coulda
we
just-
would have made that. I'd sit in the back of that motherfucker, no problem, dog. I'll sit on the floor, bitch. You ain't leaving me.
Right.
But
He
no.
just said that's another thing. You took out. They took out all the emotional connection because he's like, "Oh, I love you. You're all I got." Well, sorry, bitch. It's a one seater. You're gonna have to stay here.
Pretty much, dude. But no, so he's about to flip a coin because they can't figure out what they're doing. He flips the coin, and she's watching it, and he grabs her before it does anything, and he goes, "You're getting on that rocket, baby." He does like Ash from fucking Evil Dead. He's like, "You're getting on that spaceship, baby." And then they make out again. And it's at this point, a clone of the fucking woman he's making out with steps out from behind the rocket. And she's like, wait, before this even happens, the intercom above says 10 minutes till launch. As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, something else is going to happen because
Right.
10 minutes is way too fucking long.
Yeah, it's way too long.
So the clone of the woman steps out. It turns out the bitch is a robot. And Joe's reaction to this is very, 1990s. He throws the bitch off the stairs.
Shit, I didn't realize that. So the chick that he was that was kissing him and stuff was a robot.
She was a robot.
Son of a bitch! I skipped too much. God dang it!
And so, fucking, the last fight of this movie is between, because it ends up being that he actually, like, got this robot female to have feelings for him.
Mm-hmm.
So she, like, fights the other robot of herself for him.
Oh, okay.
And it was actually kind of a cool fight because, like, they use these effects for every time they move their feet. So it was like, every time one of them took a stomp or some shit or threw punches. It was all extra as shit.
Okay, that's why I was so confused. I was like, what are they doing? Okay, that makes sense.
So the version, I'll just call them the evil chick and the good chick. So the evil chick ends up punching a hole in the good chick's fucking stomach.
Uh-huh.
And so she's down for the count. And somehow my guy Joe ends up pushing her behind the fucking rocket to when it's starting up. So, of course, that trope where the rocket's got to shoot
Right.
flames for a minute,
Right.
burns the bitch to a crisp.
Right.
We see these, like, fucking prosthetic titties and shit.
I'm out. You two bitches are crazy.
Yeah. And so now fucking Joe grabs the good clone version of the woman and he's all like, he gives her every sappy like 90s love speech you could imagine. We could have been great together, baby. Shit like that.
Baby.
And
I wish
that's
it
when
sound like Johnny Bravo there.
Baby. and he ends up telling her, that's when he says they use the line from the book where he's like, well, congratulations. You guys have finally learned how to kill each other. You're evolving. He's like, that's the most human thing you guys have done. Or something like that.
I remember this part because I was like, that's a big like, hey, stop killing each other.
That's a big, like, message.
Right.
And so after
Save the
this, he gets on the spaceship now. Spaceship launches into space, obviously. And for some reason, he kept David's teddy bear. Did you catch that part?
Yes, because that's the ending scene.
That's the last scene of the movie is
With
he
the
threw
teddy
the teddy
bear
bear on the
like this.
dash, and then it starts fucking moving.
I don't really. Oh, I guess did his head pop up?
The teddy bear moves, so
Yeah,
the teddy
yeah,
bear
yeah.
was a screamer.
Hmm.
And that's the last scene of the movie.
So he's screwed. The screamer probably killed him in the thing.
More than likely. But even then, what would one teddy bear do?
Well, I don't know. They're scared of a little Jack Russell looking thing, so
It's true.
maybe I don't know. If it had a blade or something, but he's so badass in it, he probably would have. He probably would have killed it, right?
You would think, but
But
that's
that's
up for
a small
interpretation.
space to be, because it was a pretty small rocket. Like it wasn't a big rocket, right?
Try to think of what like the teddy bear would do. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be.
I just think of like Puppet Master.
maybe they'll make a sequel.
There is a
Like
sequel.
Oh,
I never watched
really?
it.
Oh yeah, they're right because on like Tubi or something, there's like a number 3, I
I
think.
think it's called like The Hunting or some shit.
Yeah,
Apparently, it is an actual sequel, but no, I've never seen it.
that's wild.
So that was Screamers, though. So at first, you told me it wasn't for you.
Yeah,
You still hold that opinion.
I still hold it, but even when I watched it, and like don't get me wrong, I'm taking in count that my internet was terrible. I had to keep skipping and going back, so that way. So I would say there was decent stuff in it that I respect still. You know what I mean? But yeah, it still wasn't for me. Still wasn't for me.
Yeah, I think for me, bro, it's still favorable. But like I said, a lot of that is with my 90s blinders on. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Plus, you watched this when you were like 10. That's like me saying like I love the Ben Affleck Daredevil, but everyone knows that was a terrible movie, but I like
It's
it.
true. You're right.
Yeah,
You're
it's
right,
like
man.
I love that. I was like kid, so I can't. Yeah,
You're alone on an island with that one. bro.
I am. I really am. Everyone. I don't even like Ben Affleck, but everyone. I love that one. I don't know why.
But no. I think we summed it up a lot throughout it. Like a lot of what the inspirations it had, or what it looked like, what it reminded us of, and stuff. I don't know, dude. Like I love the story. The story was fucking baller for me.
See, okay, I'm gonna say okay. I was probably gonna give this way like 1 inch or something like that, but I'll probably give it like 3, just because when you told me it's based on a book, I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense for like this of what the storyline brought to the table, right? Like I said, just the politics in general, how they went about it, the killing, you're killing these kids, right? I don't know, just the whole storyline, like when the way they tell it, I was like, this isn't like that bad. Plus, on top of that, I did think the acting, like obviously it's still 90s acting, right? Which isn't too bad, but compared to like 70s acting, but it was pretty decent acting for like a movie that had like not that great of graphics, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not to mention it's got the fucking guy from RoboCop.
Yeah, it also has that guy who is in something else too. I don't know.
So something I forgot to mention off the top of this, which I need to get in the habit of, bro. But critically, this movie is not liked either. Commercially, like it holds like a 30% rating on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
Right, makes
So it's not a well-received movie.
right. Well,
So your opinion is in the majority on this one.
I definitely and that's another thing, man. Is like I said, when you said about the book, I appreciated it more because like I saw certain things in the storyline, and now I'm like kind of understanding it better when you said like there's a book involved, right? Because there's also movies we named that are a lot like this, and this could very well be like inspiring to other movies. So that's what I give this. But like I don't know, for 90s, man, I think the graphics were a little slow because 90s was still, there's some hit and misses in the 90s, but I don't know. There's some like, you look at like Alien and what was Alien, 79, 78, same year that, I think it was the same year Star Wars came out. You look at that, it looks pretty good. Like it looks pretty decent. And I get it. There's a bigger budget. You got George Lucas and Ripley Scott versus this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think there was that many like examples of bad effects in this though. Like there might be one or two, but I feel like the practical effects they use more outshine what the bad like CGI was.
What do you mean by the practical effects?
Like some of the effects on like the machines whenever they would get shot, like having like the insides of a robot.
okay,
The beginning part where the guy got decapitated and his limbs were falling off.
right. Those weren't. Those were decent, but I'm talking more of like, well, I don't know,
Like the hologram guy, that was shit CGI.
hologram, the the crawlers, like if you just look at the crawlers, they're
The
cool.
actual like sword thing, yeah.
And them like actually crawling is like, oh my god, like what the hell? I mean, don't
Like
get me
it
wrong.
looks goofy as shit. That part did, yeah.
Right. The guns in it were cool. I like the guns in it were cool for sure. And a lot of the action in it was pretty. I was like, oh, that's pretty decent. But there was just some things I was just like, good lord. Like even the rocket. I didn't really even like the rocket either.
Let's talk about actually no, dude, the rocket. I commented on that. The rocket looked interesting. It looked clean to me.
Really? Maybe I should go back and watch it.
You got to see it again because when I was looking at it in my head, I'm like, this looks like an actual, like it was casting shadows and it had a shine to it, and it looked like it was actually a rocket fucking ascending. But let's talk about the fucking actual character arc of Joe. Joe for me was a good character up until the third act, of course. But before that, man, he's an interesting dude. Like how he's pretty much just this war-hungry guy whose whole reality is shattered when he finds out that his home base is pretty much fucking him. So he has to make that trek across the fucking desert, bring Jefferson along. You know, that whole arc was interesting to me.
Right.
And then obviously they threw it all to the fucking wind whenever it turned into the love story part. That got kind of corny.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, man, like Joe felt like a solid character.
Yeah, I think he was definitely a solid character. I liked the actor who played him. Like, I think he did a really good job because, like, that character could just be made out to be, like, you could say, hey, man, play this really badass dude who doesn't care. And anyone could take that and be like, okay, I'm Joe, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Make it really cliche. But he actually gave it his own little, I don't know. Like, you could have told Bruce Willis to do it, right? And it'd be Bruce Willis playing it. But this guy actually, he made it like his own little thing. You know what I mean?
He became that guy.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, there's just certain aspects of him, like I don't know, just the way he said things. He was real quick and to the point. Because like, another thing is he's not a big, like, other than RoboCop, and you don't really even see him in RoboCop, right?
Yeah.
So he's not a big actor. Like, when you make a big actor play something like that, like if they would have had Bruce Willis like that, they have so, like, you got to develop so much personality and stuff like that. This guy, like, he didn't have to develop all this personality. He just real, you know what I mean? He's real quick and to the point. And not, which gave him his personality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It gave it to him.
He was kind of like a stoic figure.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, like I said, you have one of these big actors play him, right?
And they're going to, like, ham it up and, like, be charismatic and do all this extra stuff.
Exactly. He's not doing that because he knows, okay, this is my role. I'm staying in my lane. And to me, that gives him way more personality, if that makes sense.
It's unique to himself.
Same with Jefferson.
Jefferson, bro, he was the ultimate sidekick, the ultimate Robin.
That's what I'm saying. He definitely. I respected the characters in this. You know I talk shit on this movie, but I respected the characters.
Yeah, dude, and fucking Becker, dude. I wish I had seen that movie more recently and I could do the fucking impersonation better, bro. I love that dude's fucking cadence and shit, the way he spoke.
Yeah, it was very Terminator-like, right? Kinda.
Very like, I want to get peanut butter and spread it on the jelly.
I like how,
Just like anything he says, bro, is just like that.
Just something else to it.
Like I don't know, but yeah, just him. Like even though he was one dimensional as shit, he was a good fucking villain.
Yeah, well, I think that was kind of like what they're going for is one dimensional because he's like, it's almost like I want to give it. Well, here's another thing you also got to think about. They got to distract you that the chick's the robot, right?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like I said in the beginning, like that's kind of, and because I skipped so much, I didn't even know. That's kind of like the obvious thing. Oh my God, the chick's probably gonna be the robot. Well, no, he is, and it's kind of like when I look back on it, it's kind of obvious that he was a robot, right? But that kind of takes away from a really good plot twist that, like, after they put on that love story, which I thought they could have done better at, right?
Yeah.
That she's the chick, or that she's she's also a robot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
They could have definitely, like we said when we were talking, like while we were actually breaking it down, they could have definitely had more of a connection between the two throughout the film.
Just
like
wasn't
it seemed
smooth.
it was very forced at the end.
Yeah, it was literally like, here's the movie, and then here's another block. You know, it's not smooth into it. At least the last 15, 20 minutes before that, 15, 20 minutes. Like, smooth it into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like, well, were you going to say something about Jefferson being the ultimate sidekick? Dude, you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of Ross from Friends.
That's a stretch.
You think that's a stretch?
I'm not sure if I see that one.
Maybe it's just because I was just watching Friends the other day.
Bro, this dude is a carbon copy. Have you ever seen Tremors 2?
No,
You
I
seen
might have
the
seen
first
parts of
Tremors?
it. Yeah, I've seen the first one.
Okay, well, Tremors 2 is they take out Kevin Bacon, and it's the same other guy, the old man, and they bring in another dude, and I swear to God, bro, it's the exact same actor with the
Really?
exact same personality.
Is it the same actor?
No, it's not because I looked, but the guy looks identical. White guy, short brown, dark brown hair that's a little bit curly. He's like, hey, we gonna kill these graboids, man, or what? Like, he's got that, like, way he talks, like, real goofy.
Right, real goofy, overly goofy.
Real carefree fucking dude just fucking around with this real serious guy. Like, I swear to God, it's the exact same dude. Like, those are just, that's the ultimate, like, sidekick character arc or character type.
Well, I'll tell you what. I bet you $1,000 that this actor in real life acts like this. It just seems. That's why I liked him. Is because it did not seem like he was acting. I was like, I really feel like this dude is actually, because his look. You just look at that guy. You're like, yeah, that guy's a goofball. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you're like, I really think that this guy was like actually. I don't know. The director is like, I know a really goofy dude, and let's make him.
He's just gonna ham it up himself.
Yeah.
When you were talking about, though, actors, like, really trying hard to be the tough guy, right? You ever seen this movie called Battle Los Angeles, I think?
No, I have not, but I've seen, I know what it is. I've seen the, whatchamacallit?
The trailer and shit?
Trailer. It was like 2012, right?
Yeah. It's, the main guy is the guy who played Two-Face in The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He's the main dude, and he's, like, a retired Marine or something.
Okay, yeah.
And just like you were saying, though, where he has to try to be the tough guy, where the whole movie he's just like, oorah. Just like as many times as he can, bro. He says oorah like 37 times.
Right.
And it like doesn't come across naturally.
No.
Like you can definitely tell he's trying to be that tough dude.
Yeah, that stuff really drives me nuts. Because, dude, like Edward Norton, like you've seen American History X, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, he is a geek. And even in Fight Club, he's kind of like the sissy, right?
Yeah.
Then you watch that movie, you're like, that is one hardcore.
That's a badass.
Yeah, like that is like, yeah, that is like, you're like that's why I really respect him as an actor, because like when I see that, like nothing was forced. Like he was psychotic in it. You know what I mean?
He was like, I believe like this dude would lead all these tough skinheads.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, and it's like, dude, if I met that guy in real life, like just looking at Edward Norton, I'd be like, he is the most like nicest, like say hi to anyone, like probably most anti-racist person, and then he plays this dude.
To say that though, if we put you in a wife beater right now with a fucking giant swastika on your chest, people would be like, that guy looks pretty tough right there.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I used to always get people used to always think I was like some redneck, and I was like, maybe it's just the way I talk. I kind of have a little twang.
You do got a little bit of a southern fling to you, man.
Everyone always says that. I hear it when I see. There's a video of me as a little kid, and I can hear it. But yeah, definitely. I hear it every now and then, but I don't know. I have a lot of rednecks in my family.
I think it comes out like you don't speak with it all the time, but I definitely hear it come out every now and then.
Right? Yeah. Can't be tamed. It can't be tamed.
So, what would you rate this movie, man?
Given the book thing and everything, I'll give it a 3. I was probably gonna say 2, but I'll go ahead and give it a 3.
3 feels safe. Like I said, I think a 3 is a good common sense answer, but for me, like I said, with the nostalgia, nah. I don't know, dude, because I don't love the movie. Like, I don't want to pretend like it's a fucking favorite. So.
Do you really feel like this feels like 90s? This really didn't feel like 90s to me, man.
What did it feel like?
Kind of like late 80s.
A late 80s
and
movie?
This was mid 90s. That's what threw me off, because it feels like late 80s, but it was mid 90s.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or maybe even like I'm sorry, like 95 and 91 movies are still pretty decent, like different. You know what I mean? Or 91 and 96. But this, I was like, this is not 95. Like, it almost felt like you know, Cabin in the Woods was made like way long before it was actually released.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I can't remember, someone saw Thor, was like, what else has this guy made? And then they saw that and they were like, oh, you know. But like, I don't know. I guess I'm not really don't have a point with that. But like, I'm like wondering if maybe this was
Well, it's just like House of a Thousand Corpses was made in 99,
right. When was that released? When was
2001.
that? Oh,
But no, I get what you're saying. Like, it definitely does give off them vibes. Like, it could have been like a late 80s movie.
yeah, for sure.
Especially when like the cast is like with older people.
Mhm.
Because you ever notice like the cast got younger and younger like as the years go on. Like now the main character is gonna be like a teenager in every movie, or like someone in their early 20s.
Yeah, that is true. It's almost like the Spider-Man thing. It just keeps getting younger.
Because like Tobey Maguire looks like he was 30 in the first Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, he looked
And
like
then
late
Andrew
20s,
Garfield
30s.
looked like he was in his early 20s, and Tom Holland looks like he's 8.
Yeah, he does. He does, dude. And so did Aunt May. Aunt May got hotter and younger, dude.
Yeah.
For sure.
But no, I'll go with you on 3, man. I think 3 is a safe number.
Yeah, for sure.
But so guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, man. Luke, you want to go ahead and plug your show?
Oh yeah, Lucas Shirley podcast. Right now, I'm posting clips. I don't know when this is gonna come out, but like after the Super Bowl, all the clips will be posted. So go ahead and check it out. It's on YouTube. Lucas Shirley Show. Thank you.
And this will come out a little before the Super Bowl, probably
Sweet.
sometime this weekend.
Sounds good.
So guys, go ahead and check out Death Taco Podcast. The YouTube channel has the reaction videos, other podcasts. You could find them also on Google, Spotify. I think it's on Apple Music. I'm not sure. And also check out the Facebook page, Instagram. Thank you, Luke, for being here with me today.
Thank you, man. Always a pleasure.
This has been the Death Taco Podcast.